Money can't buy happiness, but without it, let's be honest with ourselves for a moment. We've all heard the saying, money can't buy happiness. And most of us nod our heads in agreement, right? We understand that love, peace, friendship, health, these things can't be bought with a credit card or stacked in a bank account. But what people often leave out is the second part. Money can't buy happiness, but without money, happiness won't even knock on your door. And I'll tell you, this is where real life begins. When I was younger, I truly believed that happiness was about simple things. Watching the sunset, laughing with friends, a cup of coffee on a rainy day. I still believe in that. But back then, I didn't have bills to pay. I didn't have rent due on the first of every month. I didn't have to worry about medical expenses, supporting a family, or whether the car would break down before payday. You see, when you're struggling just to survive, when you're choosing between paying for groceries or electricity, happiness doesn't feel like a deep thought anymore. It feels like a luxury. I'm not saying money guarantees happiness. Far from it. There are people with millions in the bank who feel completely empty inside. There are celebrities surrounded by wealth who battle depression, addiction, and loneliness. Money doesn't solve emotional wounds, can't heal a broken heart. It won't make someone love you more or fill the void of self-worth. But here's the thing, money gives you the space to even think about happiness. Let me explain. When you're constantly worried about survival, where your next meal is coming from, how to afford your medication, how to keep your job, you don't have time to reflect on fulfillment. You're not asking, what makes me truly happy? You're asking, how do I make it through this week? That's why I say money doesn't buy happiness, but it buys stability, it buys time, it buys options, and with those, you get the opportunity to discover what happiness actually means for you. Now, let me share a story. I once met a man who worked 3 jobs. He barely slept. He had no time for hobbies or friends. One day I asked him, why don't you take a break, even for just a weekend? He looked me straight in the eye and said, happiness? That's for people who have savings. That hit me hard. For him, happiness wasn't even on the menu. It was a dish too expensive to order. On the flip side, I know people who grew up poor worked their way to financial security. Not luxury, just enough, and finally found peace. Not because the money itself made them happy, but because they could finally breathe. They could finally rest. They could take care of their health, their family. They could say no to things that drained them. And from there, happiness began to knock. So what's the lesson here? It's about balance. Money is a tool, not the goal. It's the vehicle, not the destination. You need enough money to meet your basic needs, to live with dignity, to be free from constant fear. That's not greed, that's survival. But once your basic needs are met, the source of happiness shifts. It moves away from things like income and status, and toward things like purpose, connection, kindness, and gratitude. Happiness isn't found in buying a bigger TV. It's in sharing a meal with people you love. It's not in designer clothes. It's in feeling comfortable in your own skin. It's not in earning more than your neighbor. It's in sleeping well at night, knowing you lived your day with meaning. So, next time you hear someone say, money doesn't matter, remember, it probably came from someone who has enough of it not to worry. And when someone says, money is everything, remember, it probably came from someone who's still trapped by it. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Here's what I believe. Use money to create freedom, not chains. Let it support your health, not harm it. Let it open doors, not close your heart. Because when money becomes a tool to serve your life, not run it, that's when happiness really has a chance to knock. And this time you'll be home to open the door. So, to those chasing money as a way to chase happiness, pause, reflect, ask yourself what you truly need. And to those struggling to make ends meet, know that your worth isn't defined by your wallet. You deserve peace. You deserve rest. You deserve joy. Money can't buy happiness, but it can create the space for it. And sometimes, that space is all we need.